Hey everyone, so I want to share with you a rather technical Gemara found in the Second Megillah. The Gemara on Daf Kaf Gimel Amud Bet says the following: that any davar shebekdusha, any words of holiness, such as Kaddish or Kedusha or Baruch Hu or saying Elokeinu in a zimun, so none of that can be said pachot me'asara, when there are less than 10 men there. And the Gemara asks, how do we know this? What's the source for it? So it quotes a pasuk in Parshiyot Emor, where Hashem says, "V'nikdashti betoch b'nei Yisrael," that I will be sanctified betoch, amongst b'nei Yisrael. And the Gemara says, "Aha! This isn't the only place in the Torah that the word toch is used. There is another place in the Torah where the word toch is used, and that is in Parshat Korach, where Korach just gathered 250 people to stage a coup and to try to take over Moshe's job. And then Hashem is upset, so he says to Moshe and Aaron, "Hibadalu mitoch ha'edah hazot va'achalel tam karaga." Separate yourselves from toch, from amongst this edah, this congregation, and I will destroy them in an instant. And then the Gemara continues to say, okay, yes, we see that there's a connection between Kedusha, God sanctifying himself, and the word and the story of Korach, but we still see nothing about 10 men. So the Gemara says, no, there's another connection, because this word Edah that was used in the story of Korach to describe the congregation, to describe the group of people, it appears in another place in the Torah, and that's in Parshat Shelach by the Meraglim, where after the 12 spies went into the land of Israel and then came back and brought a pretty bad report. Now all the people are upset. Hashem says to Moshe and Aaron, "Ad matai la ida hara'azot asher hema malinim alai." How much longer am I going to put up with this evil Edah, this evil group of people that are causing Bnei Yisrael to complain against me? And the Gemara says the following: there were 12 spies that went into the land of Israel. 2 of them, Kalev and Yehoshua, said good things about the land of Israel. So who is this Edah, the group of bad spies? That must be the 10 men. And therefore we see this connection from the story of the Meraglim to the story of Korach, and then the connection from the story of Korach back to this concept of Kedusha, the sanctification of God's name. And therefore we see that any davar shebekdusha, any word of holiness, can only be said if there's at least 10 men there. And this just causes us to take a step back and ask the obvious question: what does a davar shebekdusha? Why is words of holiness and sanctifying God's name, why is that being learned from the stories of the Meraglim and the stories of Korach, right? Both of these are pretty bad stories. And not only that, the 2 psukim that the Gemara selects from these 2 stories to learn out the concept of a minyan, these are both psukim in which Hashem is talking to Moshe and Aaron and telling them that Bnei Yisrael have gotten so bad that he can no longer put up with them anymore, that he needs to destroy them. By the Meraglim, it's this extended death of they're going to be destroyed over the next 40 years in the Midbar. By Korach, it's this immediate death that he's going to open up the ground and swallow them. But they're both like Hashem at his ki'ilu breaking point. So why is this the source for a davar shebekdusha, for words of holiness, needing at least 10 men? But I think that's exactly the point. Because we see the power of Korach and his mere 250 men, which are nothing compared to the millions of Jews that were in the desert at the time. And we saw the impact the 250 men were able to do. And we see that by the Meraglim, what the mere 10 men were able to do. They were able to rile up and upset an entire nation. Look at the impact it had. It was able to get to the point that Hashem said, the impact of these few are going to passel the entire people. And none of them are worthy of going into the land of Israel. None of them are worthy of continuing to live. They all deserve to be destroyed. That's the power that the unity of just a few people is able to have. And that's exactly what the Gemara in Megillah is teaching us. If these 10 Meraglim, if these small group of people, these Edot, were able to cause such a chilul Hashem, a void, a lack of God's presence in the world, then imagine what could happen if we took the same amount of people and used it for the opposite purpose. Not to remove God from this world, but to bring God into this world by saying dvarim shebekdusha, by saying holy words and sanctifying God's names. And that's exactly our mission this week, whether we are reading Parshat Shelach or we're lucky enough to be in Eretz Yisrael and we're reading Parshat Korach. Our goal is to fix the mistake of the Meraglim, is to fix the mistakes of Korach. And not use a group of an edah of 10 men to chas v'shalom create a chil Hashem, but to fill this world with kedusha and use it to create a kiddush Hashem, a sanctification and presence of God's name in this world. Everyone have a great Shabbos.